some all vegan Thanksgiving recipes. These are super, super easy. Anybody can make these, but they do look a little bit special and fancy and festive for the season, and no one will ever know how easy they are to make. First up, I've got some green bean and bacon bundles. These are a really great side dish for Thanksgiving. After that, I'm going to be showing you how to make my healthy pecan pie bites. These literally taste like the inside of pecan pie, and they are actually really healthy, so they're kind of a great alternative to some of the more decadent items on the dessert menu. And finally, I'm going to be showing you the real Thanksgiving showstopper. This is my all vegan cornbread and sausage stuffed maple roasted acorn squash. This one really checks all of the Thanksgiving flavor boxes. It looks beautiful, and I actually gave some of the leftovers from the day that I was filming to my little sister who is not vegan, and she not only noted that they were beautiful, but also that they were really filling and satisfying, which I always think is a great note and really great feedback from non-vegans. I did not tell her how easy it was to make. Thank you to Thrive Market for partnering with me on this video, and with all of that said, let's get started with our green bean and bacon bundles. So we're gonna need 1 pound of green beans, and I'm just gonna start by steaming these for only 1 minute. Then I'm gonna rinse them with cold water to stop the cooking and add lots of flavor with some salt, nutmeg, garlic powder, and black pepper. And then I'm going to toss this all together in a really big mixing bowl with some olive oil. And the reason I use a big mixing bowl is to make sure that I have lots of room to really toss the green beans and the seasonings together so that every single part of the green bean is coated liberally with the seasoning, because this will really ensure that they are very, very tasty and cook evenly in the oven. Same thing with the bacon. I'm not going to cook it all the way. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a head start in a pan so it can get a little bit crispy on the outside, but I want it to still be soft and pliable so that I can easily wrap it around the green beans without it cracking. So I'm just going to take about 5 to 6 green beans, and I'm going to tightly wrap the bacon around the center to make a little bundle. As you can see, it's a very simple thing to do, but it looks really pretty, especially on the finished plate. And so I'm just going to set these little bundles onto a cookie sheet, and you want to make sure you do it fold side down. And then I'm just going to pop that into the oven where it's going to bake for about 20 to 25 minutes. And I like to serve this with a little bit of cranberry sauce on the side. I think that sweetness and that tart, tangy flavor really goes well with the bacon and the savory roasted green beans. Next up, we've got my healthy pecan pie bites. These are made with some of my favorite pantry essentials that I have on hand year round. They're really easy to customize, and I'm going to show you how to dress them up a little bit to make them feel a little bit more special. For this, we're going to need some medjool dates. I just take the pit out of the center, and then I pour some boiling hot water on top so that they can soften up a little bit. And in the meantime, I'll just take some raw pecans and put them into my food processor. I'm going to pulse this a few times until the pecans resemble kind of a coarse meal or almost like a pecan flour. Then I'm going to add my softened dates as well as some pecan butter. Now, pecan butter is so flavorful and delicious. It can be a little bit pricey, so I kind of avoided trying it for a long time. And actually, the first time I ever tried it was because I was on Thrive Market and I saw that it was discounted. And since then, I've tried so many different brands and it is so good. But you can use almond butter or cashew butter or whatever you have. Then I'm going to add some coconut oil. This is completely optional, but you only need a tiny little amount to really give this dessert a nice structure so that they're not too soft and mushy. Then I'm going to add lots of flavor to complement the nice caramelly notes in the dates with some vanilla and some salt for balance. Then I'm just going to mix this all together until it is a nice thick consistency like this. These are delicious on their own as a healthy dessert option or as an energizing midday snack that tastes like Thanksgiving, but I highly, highly recommend dunking these into some melted vegan chocolate and adding some vegan sprinkles on top. It changes the game and makes these into something so festive and so special. They are honestly so delicious. It kind of blew my mind when I took a bite. You're gonna love it. Around this time of year, I load up on ingredients that I know I'm going to be using over and over and over because there's so many different ways that I like to use them. So pecans and dried cranberries, for example, I not only put them into savory recipes like my cornbread stuffing, but I also throw them into salads and in my morning oatmeal, and I bake it into zucchini bread for kind of a seasonal flair. And I find that there's so many ways to use those same staple ingredients in so many different ways. And if you would like to see a video on some of the items that I like to load up on this time of of year and all the different ways I use them. I'm thinking it'll be kind of grocery haul style. If that would be helpful for you, then I can definitely make that video. So let me know in the comments below and I can have that out to you before the December holiday. So give this video a thumbs up if you want to see that, comment below. But the place that I like to load up on these staple items is Thrive Market, because I end up saving so much money, especially on things that I know that I'm going to be using over and over. I really load up. So like baking essentials, all kinds of nuts and dried fruit and spices and canned goods and quinoa and rice and all the things that I know that I am really going to get good use out of. I stock up and I end up saving so much time and money this way. I can order my groceries straight from the website, either on my laptop or even on the app on my phone. It makes it really, really easy. And I love that when you become a member, not only do you get a membership yourself, which gives you access to all of the great deals on Thrive, but Thrive then gives a membership to a teacher, a veteran, a family in need, or a first responder. And I think that's a really amazing thing as well. If you want to become a member, they now have a 1-month option where you can become a member for $9.95 for 1 month, or you can do a 12-month option, which is the one that I have, and it ends up being just under $5 a month, which is awesome. So click that link and join today. And finally, I'm going to be showing you how to make this all vegan cornbread and sausage stuffing that is delicious on its own, and you can definitely bake it off in a casserole dish and have that as an additional side dish on your Thanksgiving table. Or you can do it this way and basically stuff it into a maple roasted acorn squash and have this as either a entree, kind of like the focal point of the plate, or as a really hearty side dish. It is so filling, so flavorful, and again, checks all of those Thanksgiving flavor boxes in the very best way. So let's get into it. So we're gonna start with some vegan sausage, and I like to make sure that I cut them into irregular pieces, and that way we have some larger pieces that are gonna be a little bit more chunky in the finished stuffing, and some that are smaller that are gonna get nice and crispy when we toast them up in the pan. I'm just going to lightly brown those and then set them aside. And in the same pan, you don't have to wash it out or anything. You're gonna add some onions, and it's nice because they're gonna absorb some of the flavors of the sausage as well. Then we're gonna add our celery, and you guys, this is honestly such a delicious smell. There's something about vegan butter with onions and celery sauteing on the stove that just makes everything start to smell like Thanksgiving. It's so delicious, and you don't want to rush this step. You really want to give this about 5 to 7 minutes of sauteing on medium heat to really help the veggies render down and become nice and soft. Then we'll add some garlic and lots of Thanksgiving-y flavors with sage, rosemary, and thyme. And at this point, it really smells delicious. And this is honestly one of my favorite reasons to make stuffing, is because it just makes my home so cozy and it just instantly feels like the holidays. I'm gonna add even more flavor with some dry white wine. And this is gonna cook out because you'll see it kind of immediately starts bubbling. So we're gonna let that reduce down and then add a little bit of vegan butter to make sure that the stuffing has a good amount of moisture. Then I'm gonna take some vegan cornbread and cut it into 1-inch cubes and toast that in the oven. Now you can buy a pre-made vegan cornbread if you like, or you can do what I did and use a store-bought mix and just use a flax egg in place of the egg that it calls for. But once it's nice and toasted, you can add it to a bowl along with the vegan sausage, the sauteed veggies, a flax egg, which is gonna help to hold everything together, and some baking powder, which will give it some lift. I think that this is such a good example of why it's so important to focus on contrast when you're cooking. I think that good food can be made great if you really pay attention to creating contrast, both in flavors, textures, and even visually, because here we kind of have this golden hue going on with the cornbread, but then we have these really beautiful little pops of color with the herbs and the cranberries, but also flavor-wise, we have this really rich, savory white wine, butter, garlic sauce, but then we've got that slight sweetness from the cornbread and that brightness from the cranberries, and then some pepper going on all throughout to kind of bring everything to life. So it's really dynamic and flavorful, even though it's relatively simple. Now you can bake this just on its own, or you can take it up another level and put it inside of an acorn squash, which is what I'm gonna do. So to do this, I'm just going to cut the acorn squash in half. I scoop out the seeds, and then I just like to brush the entire exposed part of the acorn squash with a little bit of vegan butter and maple syrup. You don't need a lot, only about 2 teaspoons, but you want to do this to make sure that the squash itself is nice and seasoned. Then season liberally with salt and pepper, and go ahead and fill each squash with the cornbread stuffing. And when it comes out, it is going to look a little something like this, and your kitchen will smell absolutely amazing. As you can see, it's a relatively simple recipe to make, but it is so flavorful, and it's just like instant Thanksgiving when you make this. It makes the entire kitchen smell so good, and all of your friends and family will absolutely love it. I know my sister really did, and I can't wait to hear what your family thinks when they give it a try. I hope you guys enjoyed these Thanksgiving recipes. If you did, give this video a thumbs up and comment below and let me know which one of these recipes you are most excited to try first. All of these recipes are going to be in the description box, and that is also where you will find a link to Try Thrive Market. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in a video very soon. Bye.